Have you ever considered the idea of crafting your own soy Woodwick candles? The allure of a flickering flame, the comforting crackle, and a tranquil ambiance can turn a mundane space into a serene sanctuary. If this concept sparks your interest, then you've found the right source of guidance. In this modern era where DIY projects are becoming increasingly popular, our focus today is on one such project: creating Soy Woodwick candles. It's an easy, fun, and creative process that gives you the freedom to with different scents and designs. Before we start, it's important to note that precision and patience are key to crafting a perfect candle. With every step, we aim to make a candle not only looks good, but also emits a delightful fragrance. It's about adding a personal touch to your space, something uniquely yours. Now let's get started. To initiate our candle making journey, we need some crucial materials. Ensure you have some soy wax flakes, a wood wick, a wick holder, a candle container, a double boiler, and your chosen fragrance oils in your possession. Let us now begin our journey into the fascinating world of candle making. First and foremost, you must measure out 2 times the volume of soy wax flakes as your candle container. This might seem odd initially, but it's based on a general principle in candle making. This rule of thumb is pretty simple. Wax typically melts down to approximately half its original volume. Taking note of this will definitely save you from any unexpected surprises in the future. Now let's move on to the next step. With your measured wax at hand, start preparing your double boiler. For those who are unfamiliar with this term, a double boiler consists of 2 pots, with one pot sitting inside the other. The bottom pot is filled with a small amount water, while the top pot is used to hold the material that needs to be melted, in this case, our beloved soy wax flakes. Pour a couple of inches of water into the bottom pot of your double boiler. The amount of water you use doesn't need to be exact, just enough to generate steady steam without touching the bottom of the top pot. Position this setup on your stove and turn on the medium heat. As the water begins to heat up, the excitement of the process truly kicks in. Now it's time to add your carefully measured wax flakes into the top part of the double boiler. As they come into contact with the steam-heated surface, the wax flakes will start to melt gradually. One crucial tip to remember during this process is to stir occasionally with a wooden spoon to promote even melting. This stirring action not only ensures a uniform melt, but also prevents any possibility of the wax overheating and potentially causing a fire hazard. When the water starts to heat up, add your wax flakes to the top part of the double boiler. Stir occasionally with a wooden spoon to help the wax melt evenly. And thus, we successfully conclude the first step of your candle making journey. Watch on to learn more exciting steps. While your wax is melting, let's delve into the details of setting up the wick. The first thing you ought to realize is the importance of the wick's position. Place the wooden wick right smack in the middle of your designated candle container by employing the use of a wick holder. This is a small but significant step that often gets overlooked, but it has a major role to play in your candle making journey. The reason this step is not to be lightly is due to the fact that where you position the wick directly affects the candle's burning process. If you want your candle to burn evenly and efficiently, it's vital to keep the wick centered. It's about precision, consistency, and an understanding of how each element works together to create the perfect candle. Keep in mind that it's not just about placing the wick, it's about maintaining its position the melted wax is being poured. Now let's shift our focus back to the wax, which by this point should be fully melted and ready for the next step. Carefully take it off the heat and allow it to cool for a few minutes. After the wax has reached a safe temperature to touch, the next step is to blend in your chosen fragrance oils. Now, the general rule of thumb to mix in about 1 ounce of fragrance oil for every pound of wax. However, don't be afraid to alter this ratio a bit to align with your personal scent preference. The beauty of making your own candle is that you get to customize every aspect of it. Once it's safe to touch, stir in your fragrance oils. Typically, you'll want about 1 ounce of fragrance oil per pound of wax, but feel free to adjust according to your scent preference. The next step is the crucial process of wax pouring. As you proceed, make sure you approach this stage with utmost diligence and care. Why, you ask? Because it is here that the molten wax finds its home in the waiting embrace of the candle container. This is when the wax, in its liquid form, embarks on a journey from the melting pot to the prepared candle vessel. This transfer should be executed with utmost precision, ensuring that the delicate and pliable wick stays perfectly centered, establishing its place as the heart of your soon-to-be candle. Remember during this stage to reserve just a minuscule quantity of the wax. This leftover wax will play a vital role later, so don't be in a hurry to use it all up. After pouring, you face the toughest challenge of all, the of patience. The wax needs time to cool, to settle, to transform from its liquid state to a firm, solid structure. This metamorphosis does not happen in an instant. It can take anywhere up to an entire day, a full cycle of 24 hours. Finally, after the lengthy wait, examine your almost finished product. If you observe a slight depression or dip in the wax around the sturdy wick, do not fret. This is where that saved wax from before comes into play. Reheat it gently till it liquefies again, and pour it carefully over the existing wax, topping off your candle and ensuring a smooth, level finish. Once solid, if there's a dip in the wax around the wick, reheat the leftover wax and top off the candle to make it level. The final step is trimming the wick. Cut it down to about 1/4 inch. Now let's look back at the process we've gone through. First, we collected our essential materials. This included the soy wax flakes, which we later measured out. Next, we melted our wax. We used a double boiler for this step. The wick was then prepared, secured in the container where the candle would be formed. Once our wax liquefied, we introduced the fragrance oil. With the aroma infused, we poured the wax into the pre-prepared container. We then had to exercise some patience, allowing the wax to solidify and form our candle. Notice any dips in the surface? We resolved this by topping it off with any residual wax. The wick was then given its final trim to a modest 1/4 inch. Accomplishing this DIY project not only provides joy and simplicity, but also produces a heartwarming handmade gift. So consider giving it a go. Craft your own Soy Woodwick candles and bask in the warm glow of your handiwork. Until next time, keep those creative flames burning.